I call upon Ms. Kajal Kumari, Sadhana and Nagavarshini of 5th year MSc Ed, RI Mysuru for the invocation.
Yam Shaivaha Samupasate Shivaiti Brahmeti Vedantinaha Yam Shaivaha Samupasate Shivaiti Brahmeti Vedantinaha Bodhaha Buddhaiti प्रमाणपठवाः कर्तेति नैयायिकाः अर्हन्नित्यता जैनशासनरताः कर्मेति मीमांसकाः क्रैस्ताः क्रिस्त इति क्रियापररताः महम्मदाः सोऽयम्भो विदधातु वाञ्छितफलम् त्रैलोक्यनाथो हरिः.
Thank you for the invocation, Nagavarshini and team. Light is a symbol of brightness and prosperity, which blooms the grace within. Lighting the lamp sets serene aura around. I request all the dignitaries on the dais to light the lamp and make a wonderful start. So please.
Thank you everyone. I now invite Professor G.V. Gopal, Dean of Instruction, RI Mysuru, to welcome everyone to the conference.
Good morning everybody. On behalf of RI Mysore, I take this opportunity to welcome all the delegates, resource persons, participants and paper presenters for this 10th National Conference of Mathematics Education, which is held in 20th December in RI Mysore, 2021. It is a great privilege for me to welcome our Director, NCERT, Professor Sridhar Srivastava, for this conference to preside over virtually. I would have been more happy if it would have been in person, but due to this pandemic situation, we are keeping the pandemic norms in a virtual mode. We are conducting this conference. I welcome our beloved Principal, Professor Y. Srikanth, Principal of RI Mysore. I also welcome all the heads of the departments, Head DE, Head DEE, Head DESM, Head DESH, all the constituent units of RIs of Bhopal, Bhubaneswar, Ajmer and Mysore for this conference virtually. I also welcome Professor R. Ramanujam, retired Professor, Institute of Mathematical Sciences, Chennai, and a former chairperson of the National Focus Group of Mathematics Education for this conference. And all the staff of the Institute of RI Mysore and DM School to attend this program, which is happening in AV Hall, and a warm welcome to all of them. This is a great month, particularly for all the mathematicians of this country. Ramanujam was born, a great mathematician born, and Srinivasa Ramanujam was an Indian mathematics born on 22nd December 1887 in Erode and passed away on 20th April 1920 in Kumbakonam. Such a great person. I have read yesterday when I was going through that, Ramanujam's last notebook. It was a very great book, Springer and Verlag has brought a book. Bruce C. Rendet has published that book. How Ramanujam has lost that notebook, what was the significance of that notebook, what he wrote in that book when he gets dreams in the night, which he used to write on the wall, has been transcribed in English, and for wider audience of this world has been put in the book form. I think all the mathematicians should go through. In fact, every object in nature is controlled by mathematical accuracy, proportions, size, shape, everything. We have so much of mathematics. If all the animals would have been in the same thing, if mathematics is not there, they are all in the same shape. We are having the diversity is because of the mathematics. Shape of the body, perfection of the body, figure of the body, and the common angle, 137.5, golden angle. These are all related to biology. People may say that biology is not related to mathematics. So much is related. All the shapes, the right-handed coiling, left-handed coiling, we have got sinistral, dextral, all that annulate openings and conches, all these things is also mathematics. If you go deep into that, there is a book called Numerical Taxonomy, Smith and Shoker. After that, there was no book because mathematics is tough, added to that biology, added to that, it is very difficult. That's why not many people are working on numerical taxonomy, which is otherwise called as the cladistic science. NCERT has given a platform through this conference for teachers, teacher educators, all enthusiasts in mathematics, and the researchers, and the students and research scholars to express and share their innovations through this conference, which is a national event. NPE, National Policy and Education 2020, clearly mentioned that major emphasis is developing a strong literacy and numeracy foundation so as to make mathematics learning more meaningful and joyful to the students. The focus is now on the development of the competencies by ensuring the well-defined class-specific outcomes through this conference. I warmly welcome all the participants to this conference. I think in fact the other thing what I want to tell is there is no object in this earth which is devoid of mathematics. Take for example a beautiful picture you take on the wall painting, to a genetics, whatever, 2n minus 1, 2n plus 1, 3n, 4n, 5n, it has all the meaning. All my friends in biology can understand what is the implications. We are getting today seedless grapes because seedless grapes is a novelty and it is because of the 3n. All the organisms are 2n, when it becomes 3n, it has an advantage. So there is also a disadvantage by not having 26 chromosomes of the human being. If one is deficient, we suffer from Mongolian EDC. Then Neelfelter syndrome, Turner syndrome, it is all that number game. I think without mathematics, even biology is not completed. So mathematics is the mother of all sciences. So I welcome all the participants, research scholars, and all the enthusiasts for this conference with a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening the application of mathematics in all the fields. I request Dr. Madhu B, Assistant Professor and also the Program Coordinator, to provide a brief note on today's conference.
Good morning to all. First of all, I would like to thank Director, NCERT, Professor Sridhar Srivastava, and our Chief Guest, Professor Ramanujam, to spend valuable time with us. Also, I would like to thank Principal, Dean, and all the faculties, all heads, and all the participants and students to attend this program as well as giving us support. So actually about this program, in 2012 NCERT has started this national conference, and in every year it will be in different constituent units. We used to have the conference in every year. Last year it was in Bhopal. When it was come to RI in Mysore, actually the situation was total confusing. Last year when it was happening in Bhopal, everything was clear, that in the sense that it was going to be online, because that due to the pandemic situation we don't have any other option. It was done very beautifully there, very meticulously in Bhopal it was done. Then when it come here in Mysore, the things are in a slightly different shape. Some half offline, hybrid mode. We have a lot of plans. We had planned for offline and planned everything for offline, but what happened, sooner this Omicron and the guidelines of state governments are there, then we have to think of hybrid mode. Even then hybrid mode, it becomes more complicated. Then after discussing with our principal Shrikant sir and the committee members, it has to be decided to be online. Online seminars, conferences will have its some advantages. That means at any time, anywhere, without traveling much, without any fear of the pandemic, you can attend the program. But at the same time, it has a very big drawback, like what we have just faced. And similar to that one, there will be many other issues will be there. People may join and may not join. So many tensions are there. Till yesterday, I was discussing with Prasad sir also, our head DSM, about the complications or the modalities, what would have done in this time. And now coming to the conference, now we are in a particular situation that we have begin NCF 2005, and when I start my job as a teacher, we have reading about the NCF, and we were focusing what NCERT was telling. At that time I was not a part of NCERT, and we were looking at the national curriculum framework of mathematics position paper and other position papers and other things, and constructivist classrooms were coming, and lot of ideas about mathematization of students' thinking process, children's thinking process was on the discussion, and that meaningful mathematics, how mathematics should be taught, should be in the meaningful way. Everything was discussed on that time. Now we are in the stand of NEP 2020, which we should it should be go further from NCF, means it should be a next step towards the more mathematization, more meaningful mathematics based on the all the concepts of NCF, which we have already undergone. So actually, we have a wonderful person with us, Professor Ramanujam. He is actually chairperson for the National Curriculum Framework position paper. So he will be inaugurating our session, as well as he will be giving a keynote address today. And another issue is the situation is the pandemic. We have studied and we have taught as a teacher, as well as teacher educator, as a student. Earlier we were in the offline mode, fully offline mode, even though we tell sometimes flipped classroom. So I will just try to conclude what are the general things we want to tell about this conference. We have 6 keynote speakers speaking about the various areas of mathematics, including history and strategy, and we have nearly 120 papers came for the registration. Among them, we have gone for the screening of abstract as well as the complete screening of the papers, and we have got the 71 papers, and in that one come from various states all over India. We have paper presenters, and we know that many paper presenters want to come physically come here and present the papers, but unfortunately due to this situation we cannot have that one, so we have to do it online. And along with that one, we have we have keynote speakers, Professor Hukum Singh Ji, Ramanujam sir, then Shailesh Shirali, Professor Shailesh Shirali, Professor K. Subramaniam, and Mahesh Sharma from UK. And also we will have a panel discussion on mathematics teaching issues and challenges in the post-pandemic period. So I hope it will be a really wonderful experience for you during these days. So I will wind up now, but before that I just want to tell that after every session we will set a Google form in which you can do the fill the form, and your feedback also we can send at the time, that we will consider for your attendance also. So there will be paper presentation, will be parallel sessions, and link is provided along with the schedule which you can join, and there will be moderators will be there, they will be taking care of all this work. So thank you and welcome to all of you for this function. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for briefing us on the conference. And moving ahead, it's our absolute privilege to have eminent personality amongst us whose contribution in the field of mathematics is immense. Professor R. Ramanujam, retired professor, the Institute of Mathematical Sciences, Chennai, and former chairperson of National Focus Group on Mathematical Education. I now request him to deliver inaugural address.
So, good morning everyone. Thanks very much for inviting me to inaugurate the National Conference on Mathematics Education for NCRT, being organized by RIE Mysuru. I wish I could have been in Mysuru. It's one of my favorite places. My visits to RIE Mysuru have always been associated with very pleasant memories and extensive discussions. I was looking forward to visiting Mysore on this occasion, but then the pandemic has shown us that this uncertainty, these moments of uncertainty are something that we need to live with. I salute NCRT and RIE for the work in mathematics education and what this conference has been doing, and I thank you for inviting me to be part of this conference. I've been associated with this conference for many years. I had the pleasure of participating in it, and I greatly appreciate the discussions that go on and the papers that get presented, and I wish the conference all success. What I want to talk about in this session is about this great disruption. Obviously, that's what is on all our minds. I want to tell you about one episode. Earlier this year, in April, was when the second wave of Delta had just was peaking, not yet, but was quite severe all over the country. So also in Chennai, this was the time when Chennai's hospitals were overflowing and oxygen was hard to find. It was a very bad time for all of us. I got a call from a 17-year-old girl, a family who's good friends with us. And of course we were all stuck in our homes. And now this was a girl whose both her parents were in hospital and COVID. Father was on oxygen, but they were doing okay. It was not, they're all right now as well. Yeah. So, but then this girl was alone, and obviously in a very tense situation. And in the middle of all this, she tells me that it's uncle. Actually, in all this, I can't keep I can't forget that I have to keep preparing for the board exams also. And uncle, I don't understand integration by parts at all. So, can you imagine the absurdity of a child? And she was reflective enough to be able to see that it's absurd. It's ridiculous, but I can't keep getting integration by parts and derivatives out of my head, right? So, somewhere I think, and I remember in the media, the discussions on the board exams, are they going to happen or not, and all that, and CBSE announcing the decisions on the boards. So, the kind of obsession we have with examinations, the pressure of that, came home to me quite dramatically in that moment when this girl, her parents in hospital, staying alone and taking care of herself, is still worrying about after all, board exam is a reality that might happen, and then integration by parts is a reality, and all that, right? And what it means, right? So somehow the dominance of this is something that, as a community, we clearly saw the difference between education for the haves and the have-nots. Access to devices and connectivity was only a part of the problem. A large number of children were just left out of these kind of possibilities for education. The quality of online education offered was also mostly abysmal. I mean, again, there's a small percentage which actually did very, very well with all that. But mostly the mode of in-person teaching was actually replicated using slides. And it's basically whatever you do in a physical classroom, you do online, making PowerPoints and so on. And as educators, you know the efficacy of using that medium in that mode. So now, I want to keep emphasizing that most of our challenges are old challenges, especially in mathematics education. Right? Assessment remains a central issue, and examinations and whatever we heard from teachers during this pandemic. The need to use multiple resources. In fact, even when the possibility of when things went online, we could use multiple resources. Predominantly, the use was pretty much a single mode, multiple approaches, and the need for mathematics pedagogy to be able to absorb all these and use in the classroom came home very sharply during this period. And the need to actively engage every child, and this is perhaps the greatest challenge that mathematics education has always faced, that the need to actively engage every child, whether it's in a physical classroom, already we have how hard it is, and then the online medium dramatically showed how difficult that is at all levels. When I was teaching online for undergraduate students, graduate students, many courses, and this is always a tremendous challenge. And the little ones, for primary school children, a large number of government schools were closed and they didn't have access to anything at all. And in fact, now resumption after disruption for them has meant basically restarting. And for many of the teachers to deal with so many children at beginning levels has been a tremendous challenge. Now that schools have reopened in many states. Now there is talk of emphasis on foundational literacy and numeracy. In fact, Tamil Nadu government has constituted a mission called Endumezhthum, and in fact I am the chairman of the committee looking into that. But one thing is clear, that everybody is thinking seriously about this problem for after the pandemic. But any narrowing of these definitions right now to just concentrate on a few skills will work against us in the long run. And in fact, this is an opportunity for us to understand what this means and rework the nature of pedagogy for small children. And in fact, it's time to emphasize the social nature of mathematics education and the central role of working with physical material. I'm reiterating probably something that we all know, but the pandemic I'm seeing and the disruption and the resumption has made us look at this all over again and rededicate ourselves to these. Anxiety, I think mathematics is a great source of anxiety for high school children, and the pandemic highlighted this more sharply. I was just mentioning that girl, and whose voice is still ringing in my ears. Now, assurance and building confidence needs to find a central place at all levels of discussions in our community. And we invariably, there is talk of sense of fear and failure among children, and at the primary school level, there is a lot of recognition of these, but as you go to higher and higher levels, especially among teenagers, the work needed for confidence building and assurance and anxiety reduction, I think, needs to be a lot more. And this is something that I'll talk about for the next hour, challenges for the 21st century. But again, we had floods, and we had these in Chennai. This has been the period of cyclones and storms and rains and so on. And along with all these, and perhaps the important thing that we need to also consider is mathematics education as if the planet matters. The planet matters, thus mathematics education matters. Right? And there are possibilities in all content areas, whether it's arithmetic, algebra, geometry, data analysis, all these to underline ecological awareness, resource consciousness, working with material, what it means. Mathematics is a wonderful language for bringing in these. And I think as mathematics educators, if we actively engage with these concerns, I think we'll be addressing very important questions in the times ahead. And again, the pandemic has also shown what it means to deal with uncertainty. Even understanding the pandemic mathematically, understanding what's happening in the environment, society, in mathematical terms, can greatly help children deal with the world and understand. So this conference brings together mathematics educators who are deeply committed. There is no dearth of committed mathematics teachers and educators in this country. It's been my great pleasure and privilege in the last 20-30 years to meet teachers who have shown tremendous creativity and innovation, working in great adversity and probably very little recognition from the system. And so it's clear that all over there is no dearth of talented teachers and educators. And I think it's a matter of working together into the system by bringing system acknowledgement, by the National Education Policy 2020. One of the remarkable things about it is the emphasis on teacher education. Teacher education is emphasized again and again and again, and the need for teacher professional development and capacity building. So I think if we dedicate ourselves to this and working together, I think we can meet these challenges for sure. So I would like to once again congratulate the NCRT and RIE for this effort. The National Conference is a wonderful occasion every time to listen to many teacher educators, teacher education researchers, and rededicate ourselves to the challenges of the time. I think the pandemic has brought many things into focus, and I wish the conference great success in articulating the terms and the way we are going to move forward. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for illuminating us with the problems faced by the students and as well as educators in online mode of education during this pandemic. It's again our extreme privilege to have Professor Sridhar Srivastava, Director, NCRT New Delhi amongst us, who is the biggest support system behind every innovative initiatives of NCRT. I now request him to deliver the presidential remarks.
Namaskar. Thank you all. Professor Ramanujam, who has been graciously accepted the invitation for being with us, of course virtually. Professor Y. Shrikant, Principals R.I. Masood, and other principals who are joined us today virtually, and deans, heads of the department, and colleagues from my all constituents, and most importantly, the delegates who are connected here today and the students who are connected here on this 10th conference inaugural occasion. And many more persons who I might fail to take the name, but who are here connected on this occasion, and we have to deliberate and discuss about the possibility of making mathematics interesting to the children across the length and breadth of the country. When I say length and the breadth of the country, I mean that we as an institution are presently involved in enacting curriculum framework, and in that exercise we are just intending, or we are aiming how well we are able to translate the things which are posited or given there in the National Education Policy 2020 to be translated through our national curriculum framework, with keeping in mind a target of reaching it to the last school and last child and the last teacher in this country. That's why I say the length and breadth of the country. Professor Ramanujam was mentioning very interestingly, and in fact this is a real issue. when he was mentioning about that girl situation during the pandemic. Yes, it was an example, but I feel this kind of situation lies there all through the time with many of the children. I would say that all the children, some children find it very interesting to pursue mathematics as a subject, as a learning area, but most of the students find it very difficult. And I am saying on the basis of my own personal experience, I have been a very average student, and I would say the domain that I pursued as a higher education, I still consider myself a student of that area, statistics, which is very near or in a way subsumed to the area of mathematics. And being an average student from a humble background, I can just assume that what is the situation of an average student from a humble background to grapple with the target of clarifying many of the concepts of mathematics. I was just seeing the objective of the conference. It is mentioned that we have to propagate what is there in the national education policy through this conference for the teachers, students, and other who are member of the fraternity working for maths teaching learning. And then I was also seeing that one of the sub-theme was mentioned as aspirations and canvas, career canvas in mathematics. You know, we all know that National Professional Standard for Teachers or National Mentoring Mission, these are certain areas which have been given there in the National Education Policy 2020, and organizations and agencies under the aegis of Government of India or state governments are working for that. Mathematics as a career is important, but I personally feel, as Professor Ramanujam was also mentioning about foundational literacy and numeracy, I personally feel that maths learning is very important, and I consider it as a life skill. And it is very important for anybody, even if the person is not pursuing a career in mathematics or otherwise not pursuing a target of any professional aspiration, where mathematics could be a step for that. Mathematics is very important. The foundational level mathematics is very important. Numeracy is very important. Familiarity with number is very important. Simple mathematical calculations in day-to-day life is very important. Having said that, I also feel that mathematics learning, we talk many factors about mathematics learning, the interest of the child or the ability and qualification of the teacher who is standing before the cohort of children and involving herself or himself in the maths teaching. Then it also depends upon the voice modulation and the ability of the teacher to generate interest among children for maths learning. But at the same time, I feel that it is very important to make understand each and every child that in certain level of maths familiarity is very important in day-to-day life. And National Education Policy is talking about identifying core essentials and reducing the content load, not the curriculum load, reducing the content load and providing the children ability for inquisitive questioning, thinking, and giving them opportunity to involve themselves in experiential learning. So all these exercises are very important for us to undertake along with the exercise of enacting curriculum framework post NEP 2020. So these are certain points that I feel this deliberation of 10th conference would surely include in its exercise, and a lot of discussion would take place. And then, as you know, that we have a position paper also to be prepared for the maths learning. And this time the National Curriculum Framework is being enacted by wider consultation across the states, and we are also embarking upon wider consultation at the district and sub-district level. So these are very important exercises that we have to take. So this conference is at a very right point of time, and it will surely give feedback to us. And very important point that came in the oration of Professor Ramanujam, and we all know it, and we all think about it, but how to roll it out. That is about assessments of maths learning. You know, pandemic is a situation, and it's a truth that we have witnessed, and then post-pandemic, when the children will return to school, then this area will again be a gray area for every teacher to understand. That is assessment of maths learning. I feel children of lower stages, means early stages, when they will return back, they might have just not be retaining the same level of interest in any learning. They must be very eager to play, to roam around in the school. They might have felt certain disruption in the continuum of learning in the form of concept understanding, and that may be the case at the class 10, 9, 10th, 11th, 12th also. But when the teacher will involve the students in assessment, a lot of issue will come that I foresee. We are also trying to come out with a guideline where we are simply saying, trying to put across with the teachers that assessment should not be very prescriptive or restrictive. First of all, we have to just regain the interest of students in the learning post-pandemic, and when they come back to the school and they start resuming their process which they left about 2 years ago. So assessment is very important, and in normal situation also assessment is very important, but I feel that post-pandemic it becomes more important. So these are a few points that I wanted to place before you all. You people belong to fraternity and the domain of mathematics. You will be able to understand what I am trying to indicate, and this is based on my experience moving around on behalf of NCERT to the rural area, or moving around in different management of schools, different level of schools. There are very good schools, there are schools which are having certain problems. So these points were based on my experience. It might be of you people will agree with this, and certain points you might have your own opinion also, but these are the points that I have to offer. And I again thank you, R.A. Masoor, for giving me opportunity to go across a few words on this occasion. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom and emphasizing on the importance of mathematics learning. I now take the opportunity to welcome the guiding light of our institution, Professor Y. Shrikant, the Principal, R.I. Mysuru, with his words.
Respected Professor Sridhar Shivastavji, the Director NCERT, Professor Ramanujam, retired Professor of the Institute of Mathematical Sciences, Chennai, Professor Gopal, the Deans, the Heads, the participants from RIEs, NCERT and other institutions. I join all my colleagues in warmly welcoming you for this conference, and it is a privilege for NCERT to organize this event. As you all know, the mathematics as a subject plays a very critical role in child's life right from the beginning. For some successful students, it is a stepping stone. For others, it is a reason to drop out. I think this kind of situation needs to be faced very effectively by having conferences of this kind in order to see how effectively we can transact the subject of mathematics in the classrooms. Because if we are able to transact mathematics as a subject at early levels, then certainly we will be able to produce great mathematicians, great sociologists, great economists, and whatnot. Because mathematics is required in every field. NCERT in its own way has been making attempts, especially after the NCF 2005 and even before that also, in integrating different subject areas so that the learning of subjects do not become a burden, especially with respect to mathematics. The abstract learning of subjects like mathematics should not be a burden. So that is the reason why an attempt was made to integrate maths with EVS and language and teach them very effectively at lower levels. And also, recently, we have also widely propagated the idea of integrating with art integrated learning, and we have seen the results very effectively at the classroom level also, wherein the children are able to understand better, especially even the concepts such as zero, which are very difficult for small children. They are able to understand when they are integrated with other aspects such as art, etc. And I must also tell you that we have to produce very useful and effective audio-visual material for the children so that they can learn better. I can give you one example. Way back in 1974, a video was produced with the guidance of Vijay Mole, and you all must have seen, especially the people of mathematics. Hindu desh hum sab ek hai, bhasha anek hai, suraj ek, chand ek, tare anek. So this video I have seen sitting with these small children in the classrooms, those who are in grade 1, and the concept of singular and plural is understood so clearly after seeing this video that, you know, whatever you show them, whatever you teach them, they'll not be able to understand the things so clearly. So I think even we have to use ICT in effectively translating some of the complex things, and perhaps these kinds of video material can really bring about a systemic change. When we talk about mathematics, you know, even the PISA, the poor performance is reflected all over the country every time whenever we talk about assessment. Even in PISA, there are mathematically applied questions which are based on graphs and other things. So the problem with assessment is that, you know, we focus on whatever, still we keep saying rote memorization, textbook centric learning, and so many other things. But when these things are applied in reality, so they will certainly be able to learn better. So the assessment has to certainly change. And finally, I just want to say one thing, that India is a land which has produced such a great mathematicians right from the beginning. Aryabhatta, Bhaskara, Varaha Mihira, Brahmagupta, Govinda Swami, Shankar Narayana, Vijayanandi, Sripati, Brahmadeva, Narayan Pandit, Ganesh, so many right from the beginning, from BC to till recently. And even now we are producing able the scholars who have won Abel Medal, and also, though it's a different thing that they are living in different countries, but still, when it comes to the contribution of mathematics, especially from this land, it is really great. Why I am saying this? Because we always look towards West for many of these solutions. But our indigenous solutions to the indigenous problems is something which is very important for all of us to now address. And you know that as mathematicians, the decimal places, the zero, the concept of zero, and even when it comes to the Pythagoras theorem, 200 years before, in 800 BC, in the Sulva Sutras, these things were described. The architectural monuments with domes and arches, etc., very beautifully built, very long ago, much before the Westerners even thought of these kinds of things in a very efficient manner. And this Brihadiswaralayam of Tanjavur, where the shadow does not fall at any point of time of the Gopuram. So it's also a wonderful example of mathematical precision. So there are so many things that India has done, and for this reason, Albert Einstein has once said, we owe a lot to the Indians who taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile scientific discovery could have been made. So the concept of zero was introduced very long back, much before, and the Westerners came to know about it only in 1500, I am told. So like that, there is no end to the way Indians have looked into mathematics, and even we knew infinity much before. In India, Ananta, a coiled snake on which Lord Vishnu rests, represents infinity, in the sense, now Einstein and many others have talked about this infinity, and how this universe is expanding and has no end and things like that. So even Rigveda, for example, talks about in 30 days sun traverses from one Rashi to another, and in 12 Rashis it traverses 12 Rashis into 30, it is 360 days, and the entire Rashi Chakra is confined to 360 days. So there are many examples of how this indigenous mathematics has excelled over a period of time, and this should continue further, and this is only possible by focusing and emphasizing on mathematics education right from the beginning. And for this, I believe this conference would certainly contribute in a very significant manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experience and opinion on different learning approaches to enhance mathematics learning. Now, we have reached the end of inaugural session. I now request Professor C. Padmaja ma'am, Head of Department of Extension Education, RI Mysuru, to propose vote of thanks.
Good morning to one and all. I deem it as a privilege to propose vote of thanks on this inaugural session of 10th National Conference on Mathematics Education from 20th to 22nd December 2021. Chief guest of the inaugural session, Professor R. Ramanujam, retired professor, theoretical computer science, and was chairperson for NCF 2005 position paper, Mathematics. Sir, we are privileged to listen to you, and I hope all our math students and paper presenters are inspired by your talk. As you truly said, greatest challenge for mathematics education is to actively engage every child in a class. And not only to the maths teachers or students, It also, as you rightly said, we are all more bothered about planet, as planet matters. Education, maths education also matters. They are not two different entities. Maths is integral part of all the subjects. Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. Professor Sridhar Srivastava, sir, Director, NCERT. You are a guiding force for all the programs undertaken by all of us, sir. Your unstinting support help us to complete our tasks with relative ease and comfort. As you said, every child needs certain amount of maths knowledge. This should be put into the mind of a child. As a student, I ran away from maths. I thought I can run away from maths, but later part when I joined for research, I realized maths never will leave us. So, as Professor Sridhar Srivastava sir said, I think this onus lies on the maths teachers to tell and convince students that yes, we have to learn maths. You can never ever run away from maths. Thank you, sir, for being with us and helping us to complete our programs with relative ease and comfort. Professor Y. Shrikant, sir, Principal RAE Mysuru, you are a force to reckon with, sir. Your guidance during the planning and executing this national conference is awesome. You are always with us to help us and lead us. In your speech just now, highlighting the knowledge on mathematical approach for all problems by our ancestors is an eye-opener. We always look to the Western people or scientists or mathematicians, whereas we have big mathematicians. We should look up to them, derive inspiration from such great scholars who excelled in all the fields with their basic mathematics knowledge. Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. Professor G.V. Gopal, Dean of Instruction, he is a person with a lot of patience and overwhelming enthusiasm to be a part of all the programs of the Institute and guide all the program coordinators and help DEE also to solve all the problems. Thank you, sir, for welcoming the audience. Professor B.S. Prasad, Head DESM, being a mathematician himself, he is hand-holding Dr. Madhu, the coordinator, and making things work and foresee any difficulties and help them solve before Madhu faces any problem. He is a fatherly figure for Madhu. Thank you, V.S. Prasad, sir. Coordinator of the conference, Madhu, left no stone unturned to reach to the best mathematicians in the nation for the conference, giving the program a wide publicity and could receive overwhelmingly 120 papers and accepted, the expert committees accepted 71 papers for either reading them out and publishing. Kudos to Madhu. Though he is an amateur in conducting conference for the first time, he is doing his best. Thank you, Madhu, and all the best for these 3 days of the conference. I thank all the principals, faculty, and Dean of RAE Bhopal, Bhubaneswar, Ajmer, Shillong, Deans and faculty of NIE, NCERT, Head of the Department of Education, DESH, faculty of RAE Mysuru, and staff of DMS, paper presenters, chairpersons of all sessions for extending support and the overwhelming response in the form of papers. All the credit goes to Dr. Madhu and his team. Last but not least, I extend my thanks to the technical team for being a part of this maths conference. Thank you all, and I wish all the best to Madhu.
I thank Professor C. Padmaja ma'am for your valuable presence and to extend a vote of thanks. We appreciate you all taking time off your busy schedules. We hope you all will learn a lot throughout this conference. We have lined up for you to be fruitful and engaging.
Our next session begins after 10 minutes after a quick break. I request the audience from RI Mysuru to be seated in the AV hall. Thank you.
Technology in an international setting in 2018. So we are proud that Mr. Anwar Sadat is with us at this moment, and he has such a vast experience of educational technology in so many schools of Kerala. So let's gain. I mean, whatever the things he has experienced in his career, he will be sharing with us, and it will be fruitful for all of us. So, Mr. Anwar Sadat, I invite you to give your deliberation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chaurasiya ji, and dear friend Dr. Madhu and other organizers of this great conference. I am also very thankful to RI Mysuru for giving me this opportunity to present the case. Especially when the digital education and digital divides have become buzzword or integral part of our education system after the pandemic, especially after the pandemic. Even before the pandemic, the national education policy and the digital education framework, all these were in active consideration for the country. And there were some isolated practices, isolated experiments or implementations happening throughout different parts of the country. From the perspective of Kerala, unfortunately, could not have come to RIE Mysuru. I would like to have there because my native place is at Malappuram district near Nilambur. It's close to Nilgiri. So it's around 100 kilometers from there, though I am sitting right now in the southernmost part, Trivandrum. And I have visited RIE 2-3 times before for such conferences. But let us see physically next time. ICT for the development sector, and we call it in short form ICTD or ICT4D. That means Information Communication Technology for Development in early 2000, basically. So many attempts to bridge the digital divide have been done in the country, and one of them, predominantly it was in the e-governance arena. National e-governance plan, which came in early 2003-2005. Then the Common Service Center project, which was pioneered in Kerala, like Akshaya project. So this was it. So what I would like to begin my talk by saying that handling digital divide is not an isolated activity for mathematics or social science or basic sciences, but it needs a comprehensive intervention for a system to progress further or to capture to reap the benefits of the digital technologies for the betterment of the society, especially in education. Kerala, we have 2 decades of experience in implementing ICT for education. We started in early 2000, 2001 with a project called ITH School, and which was later transformed to KITE, Kerala Infrastructure and Technology for Education, KITE, in 2017. So from the journey has started in 2001, and it has progressive in such a way that after this 2 decades, of this 20 years, we could able to achieve something, especially even at the time of this pandemic, to bridge the gap, academic gap of students to the possible extent. So before going to my presentation, let me start with a 2-minute video which captures the KITE in a very short time.
Yes, we should present this. Yes. Audio also? It will come. We should do that. He has not been. He should only do that.
I think audio is not coming in this video.
I hope you are able to see the video, and now I am going to the presentation. Okay, so as I said, it's almost 2 decades of intervention in ICT education. The basic pillars of any ICT intervention for digital education, especially for our secondary schools, even if it is for secondary or for higher education sector, we have taken these 5 pillars. The most one is capacity building of the existing teachers. We are not taking the foreigners to teach our students ICT. Foreigners in the sense that stakeholders outside the teaching community. So the existing teachers are empowered to handle ICT. So that's a capacity building. And the hardware deployment, which is done in the centralized way, and even for the local localization, which is doing content which is more core, which is in tune with the pedagogy and the framework. We are not depending the outside or industry-driven content, but this content is vetted and approved by CRT only is permitted to use in school. And the overall governance, e-governance system for monitoring and for the improvement. And the mode of delivery through which is satellite mode, which is the channel, education channel. So all these elements I will explain in detail while going through the presentation. So the project ITI School was initiated in 2001. Okay, it's 20 years before. And in 2003, Government of Kerala made information technology as a compulsory subject. Initially, it was for class 8. In 2004, it was class 9. 2005, it made compulsory subject for class 10. And information technology was included among one subject for the public examination for the 10th standard. In 2007, we shift to free and open source software, which was the major milestone for us to achieve up to this level. In 2010, after 10 years, the whole approach has been shifted from ICT to ICT enabled education. In earlier days, the focus was to teach information technology as a subject more of the tools, the operating system, office package, how to make presentation, how to do calculation, etc., etc. But from 2010, the strategy has been changed, and it is like now, instead of imparting skills based on ICT, we use the mathematical issues or social science problem or scientific experiments, and while solving those issues or while giving some softwares for understanding those concepts, the student in turn acquire the skills. So that is what ICT enabled or ICT unbundled education. In 2016, the government started a major program called Public Education Rejuvenation System, after which each year almost 1.5 lakh students have started enrolling new, afresh to the public schools in the Kerala. For the last 5 years, it comes around 6 years, it has crossed almost 9 lakhs plus new students. So the high-tech school project, 2017, the government has stabilized, converted ITI school as a Section 8 government company called KAI, which is existing right now. 2020, last year, the Kerala has declared the first state to have complete in the digital education. It is never complete, but in the sense that the whole element has been taken care, and there are further scopes for. So this is the brief outline of it. So what do you say in complete digital education means 4,752 secondary school, means class 8 to 12. Classrooms have been put facility for viewing the classes digitally. That means laptop, projectors, and broadband internet with networked classroom. So 45,000 classroom is very high-tech school. 8 to 12. This high-tech lab is for 1 to 7. There we are not putting these equipments in our classroom because we don't want the children to use this all the time, but we put mobile sort of labs for them to use for the primary school. And this is the core part. This is a Samagra resource portal, which is used to deliver the classes in the smart or high-tech classrooms. So I'll come to that. There comes the strength of pedagogy or curriculum or transactions, which was highly useful in the case of mathematics, which is some brilliant free and open source software available for mathematics. If you ask me which subject do you have excellent packages for demonstrate, the first answer will be for mathematics. Software like GeoGebra, you might have seen that, which is an open source domain, which is being extensively used from class 1 to 12 in our public education system. Then there are supporting factors where little kites are equal. It's like your scouts, guides, or MCC clubs. We have almost 1.75 lakh students in 2,000 schools. They do 20 to 40 students per schools, little kites. They have different activities for dissemination and peer teaching, peer supporting, even training the mothers, sort of thing. So these are ecosystem which put us declared digital education, complete digital education 2020. Next one, as I said, the capacity building, the empowerment. What all mode of training you have to keep? See, the face-to-face training was or is being followed extensively, but after in the last 4 or 5 years, it has gone to online extensively, even before the COVID. See, in Kerala, we have almost 5 lakhs employees, out of which around 2 lakhs are teachers. That means 40% of our government employees belongs to school teacher category, from classes 1 to 12. And all of them, to complete their probation within the 2 years, they have to pass an online course called COOL, Skype Open Online Learning, which is basically a massive open online course, a MOOC course driven on free software and gives the necessary application softwares for a teacher to practice in their classroom, including starting from OS, application packages, video editing, audio recording, cyber security. So all these elements are bundled there. So it's a mandatory for all teachers to pass this course. Government has made it mandatory in 2018. This is the 3rd year. Then different training to Little Kites IT Club. Now it has gone to computer laptop. We have taken a strategy in 2019 that there will be no desktop to school, only laptop. Because of different reasons of power, stability, no need of, it's lightweight, portable, and you don't have any UPS, it has inbuilt charging capacity and all. But of late, we have started mobile journals, the Mojo training, how to shoot classes, digital classes, documentaries, to make digital content by using the mobile phone, which is all teachers have been given training in a successive ways, which helped us in a big way during the pandemic. Then the visual media literacy, which again have fact check, cyber security, fake news identification, etc. ICT training for mothers. Now, to put earlier days we were saying don't give mobile phone to your kids. Keep phones, mobile phones, smartphone away from kids. But now we are telling them to give your kids for studying later. So what are precautions they have to take? So mothers, making them literate on the cyber aspect. That's very important. We use the little kites members for the training. So that's ICT training for mothers. Then for online education, we use GSU. It's a new platform which has started from this year. When coming to the digital divide part, I will explain what is strategy we have taken last year and what is strategy we are taking this year. What was the difference I will come to in the later stage, but so Google was closed for training. So these are different types of training for empowering the teachers, students, and even to the states, parents, and other society level. And as I said, the Samagra resource portal. See, you have the digital classroom, you have the digital infrastructure, broadband, internet, networked classroom, projectors, laptops, speakers, etc., etc. But it's of no use if you don't have a relevant content for you to translate in the classroom. So what do you mean by relevant content? There are plenty of apps, tutorials available in the market. So do you want to take some of them or buy some of them or take free some of them and use it and keep your teacher just a operator of that application? No, that was not the way it was envisaged even before the COVID. The Samagra resource portal is what we have taken. We have taken, I will give a demonstration of that if we get the time. It taken each subject for the mathematics. Chapter 1. What are the learning objectives for them? Take one learning objective. What are the macro plan to transact that? For each macro plan, what is the micro plan? List out these, then make the lesson plan, then take the digital resources wherever you require. It's not like scanning QR code and playing some video, identifying some hotspot and playing video. It's not like that. The teacher uses video, animation, images, or interactive applets only where they feel it is appropriate to put in while preparing the lesson plan. So that's the Samagra. It's a different mode which is unique in that sense. And the School Wiki is again a collaborative platform for a school or even the alumni to build the content of regarding the school, including the history and the contribution and all. We come to that. And we have textbooks. We have ICT textbook from class 1 to 12. Class 1 to 10 basically. We don't have any ICT teacher, IT teacher, exclusive IT teacher for class to 10. That means there are IT period and IT textbook, but the teachers they may be teaching regularly mathematics, Malayalam, English, Hindi, whatever, but they take ownership to teach IT also. That is the way. There is a operating system which is customized by Kite, which bundle all sort of applications which are here for school. So the school don't have to go to install X application or Y application like that, and it's available for users. This is the sort of application. I don't know how much it's visible, but you see it has Office packages, means Office like your Microsoft Office equivalent, Excel equivalent, PowerPoint equivalent, database software. So everything comes under the Office package, LibreOffice. It has like your Photoshop is a GIMP software application, like your Inkscape.
Here the session, it is session 3.2 will be starting soon. We have less number of papers here. I think Santosh sir is here from Delhi. Sir is joined from Delhi. Actually, sir is our faculty. RI Mysore Physics faculty. Sir will be moderating the session. Santosh sir.
issue with that because technical person has to see that. Another one is chemistry lecture. What time? After this session, you will be here. After that, you take 9:30 and 45 you can take. On
8:45 sir.
all participants we will send a link.
They have to join WebEx.
Participant has to join online.
Online.
Cisco.
Then I will send them again a mail. Because validatory function starts at 4 p.m. They've mentioned. But morning for 8 for this one they will be there. Panel discussion and keynote addressing. Before that they have to join you, sir. At 8:45.
Santosh sir? Hello? Santosh sir, am I audible?
Can you ask the photos of
Hello, Santosh sir?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah.
Ashwini Kumar sir? Garg sir?
That's sir.
If sir is available, we can begin. I think we have very less number of paper, only 6 papers are here. But time we can maintain that 10 minutes, sir.
That's sir.
I think sir also went.
Yeah. I think that sir has cut the session.
Okay, I will make a call to him first.
No, but your means response is not came, so I got some problem. Yeah. Here, because Santosh is there. Yeah. Okay, then I'll ask Santosh to hand over the session. We can begin taking.
Okay. Thank you. I am Garg sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
So
We will begin our session 3.2. So this session will be chaired by Ashwini Kumar Garg ji from RI Bhopal and moderated by Dr. Santosh Kumar from RI Mysore. So over to you, Santosh sir.
Thank you, Dr. Madhu sir. So, normally I will welcome all the people for session 3.2. Our learning resources for mathematical pedagogical processes. And chairperson of this session is Dr. Ashwini Kumar Garg, Associate Professor in Mathematics, Regional Institute of Education, Bhopal. I welcome sir, and I just want to introduce today's chairperson. He's an eminent scholar, and he joined NCERT in 2006, and he has more than 15 years of experience in teaching and 20 years of research experience. And he has a specialization in mathematical education, and he has written many books and many papers he has presented, and it is not the end part. And he has great expertise in domain of mathematical education. And he is the resource person of different programs of NCERT, and he always point his feedback in the different programs of NCERT. So welcome, I will, sir. Thank you. I request all the speakers and other participants, please mute your microphone so that disturbance is not there. So today in this session total 6 papers are there. So I request before starting the paper presentation, I request all the presenters please stick to the time. 10 minutes presentation and 5-minute discussion is there. So now I hand over to this session to Dr. Ashwini Kumar Garg. So give his opening remarks over this theme over learning resources for mathematical and pedagogical process. Over to Ashwini Garg, sir.
Thank you, sir. Respected paper presenters, everyone have idea about these themes. The themes are the learning resource for mathematics pedagogical process. In the study classes, Professor Hukum Singh discussed in very detail about the learning resources. If I say about the theme just like a learning resource, under the learning resource is wider range terms. Under this, if I say what is coming under this umbrella, so I already told you that study Professor Hukum Singh already discussed about the topic. One topic is the learning, teaching learning materials or mathematics lab. So that is coming under the umbrella of learning resource and teaching learning resource. And same way, if I going to discuss about the pedagogical process of related to teaching learning resource. So under this category, we are considering the textbook. Textbook is the one very important learning resource for teaching the mathematics. Same way, we are using the audio visual or simply you can say the multimedia. They are coming under the umbrella of teaching learning resource. And the third things are coming under the community resources. Under the community resources, if I say according to recommendation of new education policies, so new education policy also emphasize on at present we send our student about every semester in 10 days to the village level. They go and observe the village level activity, and on the basis of that they learn so many things. Same thing under the community resource, parents, peer groups of the community, they are all coming under this umbrella. And what I already mentioned that the one thing mathematics laboratory, mathematics corner. Professor Hukum Singh already discussed in the study discussion, mathematics club, and one more thing, sometimes we are saying that teaching learning materials, and somewhere we are saying the teaching aids. So these things coming under the umbrella of learning resources. So I think is I already mentioned the point here that they are coming under the umbrella. No more needs to I discuss about explain the individual parts. So I request Dr. Santosh Kumar ji we start the presentation one by one, and we take the time. You already mentioned that told that 10 minutes. I think 10 minutes is enough time. And when you are presenting the papers, I have request simply you take your title. After title, you come in your objective. Then you come in methodology. Under the methodology, your sample size, tools, and if you are the size paper. And then you come in your interpretations and conclusion. If are the paper parts, so that time simply there is objective, your objective parts, and then simply some introductory part, center part, then you come conclusions. No need reference part and so many things. I don't need some introductory parts. So in this way, if we move slow, I think we will reach the end of the particular paper presentation. So now I am handed over to the Dr. Santosh Kumar.
Thank you, Dr. Ashwini Kumar Garg, sir, for your valuable and brief note about the today's theme of our paper presentation on learning resources, mathematical and pedagogical processes. And so we will start with the first paper presentation, and as I already have told, I again request all the speakers to stick to the time, and as per the instruction of our chairperson of this session, please stick to the instructions. So first paper presenters are Navneet Kaur from GSS Hooghly district Ambala, and Dispal Singh GMS Mahindra Haryana, and their title of paper is Establishing Mathematical Labs in Schools, Issues and Challenges. So I request the group please present the paper. Navneet Kumar Kaur, are you there? Navneet Kaur. I think that they are not there.
Yes,
so sir. Okay. So please, I request you to.
Yes, sir. I am.
Santoshi, I have request first you take the attendance basically. On the basis of attendance, you will.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, madam, just a minute. After that, Raf A, they are here. That group presenter, paper 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Amit Sankar.
Yes, sir. I am here.
Okay. Malikarjun.
Yes, sir. I am here, sir.
Okay. Johar S. Okay. Mahinder Singh Rana.
Yes, sir. Sir, I am speaking. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So I begin to again request Navneet Kaur, please present the paper. Thank you. Yeah, Navneet Kaur.
जी सर.
Yeah, please present the paper.
सर मेरी स्क्रीन विजिबल है?
No, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Please present the screen. Some problems you are facing, Navneet Kaur ma'am?
Yes, sir. इसमें OK के बाद सेटिंग है तो उसमें ओपन.
नहीं फर्स्ट मैडम आप एक काम करिए, पहले आप इस फाइल को खोल के मिनिमाइज कर दीजिए. जो भी फाइल है उसको मिनिमाइज ओपन करके मिनिमाइज कर दीजिए पीपीटी को. देन यू गो इन द शेयर करेंगे. आफ्टर शेयरिंग मतलब आप अपनी फाइल को क्लिक कर दीजिए.
लैपटॉप पे ओपन नहीं हो रहा, अभी डाउनलोड हो रहा है इमेज. और
नेक्स्ट को ले लीजिए सर. यू टेक नेक्स्ट.
You solve on these issues, and by that time another presenter I will take out. Rafi A. I request Rafi A and group please.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. I will continue.
So, and their topic is mathematical lab in school challenge. Please.
Is it sharing, sir?
Yes.
Okay, sir. My name is Rafi. I am from Tamil Nadu. India is the home of famous mathematicians but our students fear about this subject. The only way to learn mathematics is to do mathematics. To do mathematics lab is essential. Mathematics for everyone and anybody can learn mathematics. Objective of the study is to teach mathematics using complete objects, to demonstrate the connection between the mathematics and everyday life, to define mathematics laboratory, to conduct survey to determine the issues and challenges associated with establishing mathematics lab. Definition of the mathematics lab: it is a room in which we find collection of different kinds of materials and teaching aids needed to help the students understand the concepts through relevant, meaningful and concrete activities. A simple lab can be established using low cost and no cost materials too. Purpose of mathematics laboratory, learning of subject matter can be given a practical shape. A practical mindedness is developed among the students. Mathematics laboratory rule, the concept of concrete pictorial abstract CPA is achieved through mathematics. The teaching approach of mathematics can be achieved through mathematics lab, and the learner will be able to understand abstract ideas, concepts through the use of mathematics lab. And math lab can be established in various levels, primary and upper primary, and senior secondary senior level. Along with this lab, ICT and software supports are highlighted in standard lab, which are listed below: smart board, overhead projector, GeoGebra applets, and graph calculator, robo compass, etc. can be utilized along with the mathematics lab to support ICT tools. Maintenance of lab. Math lab there should be a well-planned timetable and proper allocation of periods, record of materials and visitors, and lab manual session should be maintained in mathematics lab. Here is an example of math lab activity which verifies the relationship between diameter and circumference using GeoGebra applet. From this applet, students have to choose circle with different radii which have to be recorded in tabulator. Further, they have to find diameter and circumference. Later, they have to divide the circumference by diameter to verify the relationship between diameter and circumference. The result surprised them since they got the same answer, that is the value of pi. It takes time, but slow and steady is the race. What I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. What I understand. So, it can be achieved through mathematics lab. I made a lab in our area. By that experience, I have established a simple lab in our school. I have conducted a survey to analyze the issues and challenges in establishing mathematics lab. Responses collected. 12 questions were sent to 25 math instructors using survey out of which 23 were responded in 2 weeks of time. Out of 23, 3 instructors have working experience in mathematics lab. Here is the sample question of the survey. Is mathematics laboratory activity a part of co-curricular activity? Majority of the persons agreed, and it is essential to make clear that if internal marks allotted for lab activity, it can't be considered as co-curricular activity. In conclusion, the only way of learning mathematics is to do mathematics. It can be achieved through mathematics lab. It is very expensive. That is, establishing of mathematics is very expensive, and every school can't afford it. So establish a simple lab instead of math lab. Standard math lab. We can't use mathematics lab for all concepts for all classes at a time. So for this purpose, we have to allot the timetable and regular the proper periods to each class, and we have to use mathematics lab for conception-based learning as well as for joyful learning and better understanding of the concepts to achieve success in competitive as well as in achievement tests. For this purpose, concurrent concept maps can be displayed in the mathematics lab. By the survey, we can understand that CC is adapted as evaluation technique, so that formative assessment, these math lab activities can be utilized. Internal maths can be allotted for lab activity where CC is not adapted, such as other subject physics, chemistry in evaluation system. If internal marks allotted for lab activity can be considered as co-curricular activity which has to be sensitized to the teacher with proper training. The secret of the success depends only on the interest of the teacher in establishing the mathematics labs. East or west, home is the best. Standard or simple mathematics lab is must. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ravi for your presentation. Now I request all the participants, if they have the questions, please unmute yourself, and this presentation is open for questions. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I have some suggestions, Rafiq ji. Your topic, no doubt, establishing mathematics lab in the school issue and challenges. I think more work is required here. First, I want to. This is my suggestion, not your question. Second thing, your question was mathematics lab part of the co-curricular activity. I think this is not a good question for this type of study.
I'm not audible.
Because now mathematics lab not a co-curricular part. This is a part co-curricular part. So maybe here teacher are confused for giving the answer. So may like when you develop this type of questions, so you change the pattern of the asking the questions. So no need here you mention the co-curricular, simply use the co-curricular. Because mathematics is not a co-curricular, it's a curricular. Second thing you mentioned that time allotment. No need extra time in mathematics lab because mathematics lab is a part of your curricular parts. So when we are teaching mathematics, that time we use the math lab. So this is my suggestions.
Yes, sir, but in state board, in our board, we don't have the facilities. So we have the curriculum. We are using so far co-curricular activities only, sir. For that purpose only, I have included that to sensitize that co-curricular is not.
So now I have suggested you fight these things. You fight and you make it a curricular part.
Thank you, that sir, and I hope the presenters will take out the concluding remarks that is given by the chairperson and enhance the level of studies. Thank you, Rafi. Now, I now request another presenter, Mr. Amit Sankar from Central University of South Bihar, Gaya. Amit Sankarji, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Yeah. And title of paper presentation is Role of Assistant Devices to Overcome Challenges of Mathematical Learning, a study of visually impaired girls' schools of Bihar. Over to you, Amit Sankarji.
Sir, my screen.
Please present your screen.
Okay, sir. So now my screen is visible?
Yeah, sir, it is visible. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. As for my topic, role of assistive device to overcome challenges of mathematics learning, the study of visually impaired girls, School of Bihar. First, there is basic definition, external device that are designed, made or altered to help someone to do specific tasks. Basically, these assistive devices are required to enhance performance of Divyang students and Divyang peoples. And the assistive device may be anything. Am I audible, everyone?
Yeah, sir, it's pretty well, sir. Continue, sir.
Okay. Assistive device may be anything. It might be simple device, likewise magnifying glass, wheelchairs, different kinds of software, everything which are supporting for the betterment of Divyang may be come under assistive device. Assistive device related with mathematics learning.
I request other people, please mute your microphones. Please, it is creating the disturbance. Please mute. Continue, sir. Thank you.
Some example of assistive devices related with mathematical learning comes under abacus, braille slate. Abacus is basic tool which is used at beginner level. Teleframe, another example, teleframe and types. Large key calculator. Large key calculator is basically used for low vision students. Means they have low vision. Docking calculator, which is used for blind people. Embossed graph paper, as studied Professor Ramanujam sir said about artificial intelligence software, that is also nowadays used to recognize embossed graph paper, magnifier, audio tapes, geometry kits, lots of things are available nowadays to enhance capability of Divyang people. For this study, I have used semi-structured interview. In that, there was 5 questions. There is some key limitation in this study. Basically, the study done from visually impaired girls who are studying in School of Patna, Bihar, and Now comes on interpretation of data. As per theme, the questionnaire was divided on different bases. There was point user experience of assistive device on mathematical learning. The data was very interesting, and during data collection, it was found that there was very positive response, and most of the girls who are part of this research was very curious to know about different kinds of assistive device. Some example I want to quote. I have used teleframe, tape recorder, braille slate, abacus, but our teacher told that now many electronic devices available for teaching learning we enjoy to learn. Means this what shows that they have basic knowledge and they are curious to know much about these assistive devices which are supporting their lifestyle, their learning. Another response is we can learn all subjects. We use braille slate and many mathematical devices for learning. These lines shows that they have good confidence to learn and they are getting lots of things regarding their teaching learning. There is another respondent who told that imposed mathematical devices help us to measure length and other things, likewise sighted person. Means they are correlating with a sighted person too, that we can do lots of things which a sighted student are doing. Another interpretation came related with support of teacher. Support of teacher part was have both kind of response. There was positive as well as negative response. Some lines that I am lucky that I have really good teachers. They started me teaching from beginning. When I was kid, abacus was my first counting device. My teacher taught me to write numbers on braille slate by correlating with alphabets. These lines represent that. Their gesture about their teachers, that how much support they are really getting. Their response shows that the teachers are highly cooperative. They try to give us such kind of information, such kind of what I can say, such kind of talent, so that they can fight with the challenges. Lots of point came during this research. Another respondent told that shifting from abacus braille slate to teleframe was quite interesting. They were sharing their own view that day by day our assistive devices are going to be gradually changed. Earlier we was using simple device, gradually we are moving from simple to advanced device. Another respondent shows that we enjoyed too much when teacher first time used talking calculator. The concept of talking calculator was at initial level they were very enjoying that this is some new calculating device. Another respondent added that our teacher told there is a lot of software made for fast calculation of every kind of data, but we don't have that reach. Means some were feeling that there are lots of things, but we have not reach of that software also. Because in secondary school, these are costly devices, and they know that they were very curious to learn, but as per availability part, they were lacking this thing. Support of peers. In this part, the data shows almost every support was very positive. The peer part covers their friends, their seniors, their juniors, but the point, some of girls said that very happy to share about support that do I receive from our peer group. Our peer always motivates us to use technology and assistive device. During Corona period, our seniors suggested to learn by YouTube. Means their senior support was really appreciable, that they always try to learn and share these things to their juniors. Most of the respondent was very satisfied. And another part is support of teacher covered, peers. Another thing was challenges and barrier. The dimension of challenges and barrier was very tough to find, because some of girls don't want to share their issues and challenges. But some said that assistive device which is required for teaching learning is very costly. Our family cannot afford that. Some said that our teacher teaches all subjects in math class. We are not getting time. Sometimes principal says that my teacher will be appointed, then you will get no time. And the thing was that teachers trying to support them, but due to lack of assistance, financial support, finally that issue came. Another respondent said, am I audible to everyone? Hello?
No, yeah, audible, continue please.
Okay. Another respondent said that we can learn basic mathematics till class 8. After that, we have to opt music or social subject. Means due to lack of support or some kind of assistive device, they cannot get mathematical learning after elementary education. Some of the respondents said that our family members feel whatever teaching learning is occurring in our school is enough for our survival. They don't want to give proper attention to our education. Means some of family members was really feeling that the survival part is enough for their kids, but they are not too much careful about this. This was their intention to say that our family members are saying in this way. I don't know what was the feeling, but as a researcher I found some kinds of negative feeling was there in those girls. One of respondents shared that in competition math and reasoning is being asked, so math is important, which my brother told, but we are lacking that. And she got very much emotional by saying this thing, because in every competition time is given, but the part which they have to solve is some kind of challenging part for them, because they are getting extra support but extra time, but the listening part they have to solve on themselves. This was the issue shared by some girls. Now comes to conclusion. Data shows that learning experience of some of the respondents was quite well, while someone was very curious to know more about assistive device. Most of them was familiar with simple mathematical device, but they have little knowledge about high-tech assistive device. Support of teacher was too positive. Their teacher always tries to make a strong teaching learning environment. Most of the respondents were satisfied with their peer support, as they always share new and innovative information with each other. The finding of research shows that although teachers have degree diploma, but some of teachers who are teaching mathematics lack some kind of training in special education. Thank you all. I think that was very fast. Sorry if at some point if you are not getting, you can discuss.
Thank you, Mr. Amit, for your presentation. Now I request the audience to have questions. Please, questions. If no question from the audience, now I request the chairman of the session, Dr. Garg sir, for providing the valuable remark to Mr. Amit. Over to Garg sir.
Okay. Thank you, Amit ji. Excellent presentations, and I have no problem saying that I also published one book for the visually impaired childs.
Oh, great, sir.
Focused on these points. The basic barriers are the, if I say, visually impaired childs are, say, in the form of inclusive educations. Basically, we are facing three types of barriers. That is, the barriers are the interdisciplinary barriers. Second barrier is the community community ownership, and third barrier is the knowledge of the teachers. If we, no doubt your topic was excellent, sir. I have one suggestion, not as a chairperson, as a colleague. I am giving one suggestion. Your presentation, somewhere you have some percentage part. Maybe the 7% people are saying, or some people are saying. So that time the university come in the, no doubt there is theoretical study and pharma case study, but some case study also need the some percentage data. So you have that type data, that is fruitful. I also note down your phone numbers. So I will talk you in later.
Thank you, sir.
Interesting topics. So I want to work in this area also future.
Sir, I also want to be connected with you, and that's my WhatsApp number also.
Because this is an excellent topic in future. 94250.
One second, sir. 94250. Yes, sir.
79299.
79299.
If you want to do the work in this area, I will give you the book also.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for such cooperation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Garg sir, and I hope Ms. Sankar really going to be benefited by your suggestions. Thank you, Ms. Sankar, for your presentation. Now, in continuation to that, now I request next presenter, Mr. Mallikarjun from Regional Institute of Education. Mallikarjun, are you there?
Yes, sir. I am here, sir.
Yeah, the paper entitled Study of Knowledge Competencies of Elementary School Teachers in Using Mathematical Kits. Yeah, over to Mallikarjun, sir. I request you to kindly present and start the session, start the presentation. Thank you.
Respected chairperson, and I extend my hearty thanks to chairperson and organizing committee members to give me an opportunity to present my paper about study of knowledge competency and of elementary school teachers in using mathematics learning. As mathematics, the utilitarian value of mathematics is very essential, shows the importance of mathematics in education and also in daily life context. Several committees and commissions also recommended curriculum of mathematics to be taught from elementary level itself. So we are starting mathematics from the elementary levels. The logical sequence, structure and precision mathematical language and symbolism and abstractness of the mathematics are the special characteristics of mathematics subject, which needs more attention and care for teaching, learning and mathematics. To understand mathematics learning, the concepts should be taught from known to unknown, simple to complex, easy to difficult and difficult to specific to general and some concrete to abstract. Teaching should move from the concrete to abstract. In the background, mathematical knowledge is very essential for and useful to all the but the performance of students in mathematics is lagging behind the comparison with other subjects. One of the reasons is the abstract nature of mathematics. It is not easy to understand the concepts and principles of mathematics. Adopting student learning strategy and usage of proper learning materials will facilitate the learners in understanding mathematics meaningfully. It will be more beneficial for and effective if teachers develop and teaching learning materials and use developing the evaluating concepts of mathematics on situational context. The importance of teaching learning materials in mathematics. As the subject itself is abstract, there is a lack of visualization in understanding mathematics. So we have to use concrete materials which helps to understand the concepts of mathematics and mathematics.
I request other audio people from the audience, please mute your microphones.
For my study, Augusta Foundation has supplied matters to all government elementary schools of Chamra district in Karnataka state. The learning materials in the kit contain number line and clock strips, abacus, base, pen, blocks, place value mats, which are multi-purpose using these TL materials. We can easily make understand the learner to grasp the concepts very effectively. These materials are very useful to develop meaningful understanding of mathematics concepts and fundamental operations. Statement: in this context, the study was carried out with the intention to find out the effective usage of mathematics at elementary level, and it stated as study of knowledge competency of elementary school teachers in using mathematics kit. My intention is, the objective of the study is to study the extent of awareness and uses of learning materials of elementary school teachers. To analyze the components of component-wise competency in using teaching learning materials of mathematics by elementary school teachers. To study the relationship between the knowledge and uses of teaching learning material in facilitating learning process. Purpose of the study are: there is no significant difference between the knowledge of teaching learning material in mathematics and its usage in the facilitation process of learning. There is second hypothesis: there is no significant difference in components of using teaching learning materials of mathematics in the classroom transaction by the elementary school teachers. The third hypothesis: there is no significant relation between the knowledge and usage of teaching learning materials in facilitation learning process. The variables of the study: the independent variables teacher knowledge about the teaching learning materials. It was measured by administering professional test pedagogical knowledge in mathematics kit. Dependent variables usage of competency of teaching learning materials. It is assessed by using the facilitation process observation tool. Description tool. Professional test in content. Professional test pedagogical knowledge in mathematics tool is a questionnaire consisting of 16 items of objective questions related to pedagogical knowledge in teaching mathematics, including awareness about the teaching learning materials available in the class. The tool was validated at 2 levels. Formally, the question was framed by the investigator and discussed with the field resource persons of elementary and high school teachers. Then the primary tool was distributed for the subject expert team for content validity. Their opinions were considered, and the final tool was framed. The tool was administered 42 teachers as a pilot study. The reliability of the tool was found to be 0.756. Another tool used is facilitation process observation classroom tool, which is with 5-point scale of facilitating mathematics learning in the classroom. The indicators of the construction of the indicators of the facilitating process were discussed with the taluk level resource teachers, and specification for the marking of the rating scale was also decided. The preliminary tool was contained 132 items was distributed to a team of subject expert teams. The findings of the classroom observer was recorded as a pilot study on 8 teachers and video recorded. The findings of the classroom observers was viewed individually by the resource persons. The unknown indicators were eliminated and the indicators were revised and rearranged based on the opinions and suggestions of the resource team. The final tool was consisted of 95 items. Data collection. Professional test in pedagogical knowledge in mathematics questionnaire tool was used for data collection of pedagogical knowledge of elementary school teachers. The elementary school teachers were assembled in a common center. The objective and significance of the study and the instruction for the answering the question was explained, and then it was administered to the group. The facilitation process observation tool was used for facilitation learning process in the classroom observation of elementary school teachers. Facilitation data was collected over a period of 1 month during class visits. For data analysis, the data was analyzed using descriptive and statistical analysis, comparative analysis. Descriptive statistics was applied to assess the extent of awareness about the teaching learning materials of the elementary school teachers. correlation studies was employed to analyze the relation between the knowledge of the knowledge about the teaching learning materials of the elementary school teachers with respect to the usage of the DLM in classroom facilitation process. From the findings, our 98 teachers were involved in this study. The mathematical concrete knowledge was only 54.85%, but whereas the usage of the mathematical kit in the classroom during the facilitation process was only about 29.69%. Among these, 72 non-graduate teachers were involved. Their mathematics content knowledge, their mathematics kit knowledge was about 52.64%, and their usage competence is about 29.26%. Among graduate teachers, 26 teachers were involved in this study. Their competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 60.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while air usage usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematics kit awareness was about 69.97%, 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.60.97%, while air usage competency in classroom, freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom freshness process only about 31.06%. competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%, while their usage competency in classroom facilities process only about 31.06%. Competency, their knowledge about mathematical kit awareness was about 69.97%,